Greetings everybody, it's Rob from the Sage Tower, and we're here with another Pathfinder 2nd Edition archetype video, hopping back into the mix of going through all the different archetypes. Now again, for those who haven't seen some of the previous videos, we are looking at these not just as an archetype for class building, but also as an archetype that would be useful if you were playing in a campaign and from a GM perspective of how it works. Now, with that said, let's hop into this one, and this one is going to be the Animal Trainer. Now, the Animal Trainer does come from the Extinction Curse Adventure Path. That's the one that is based around kind of being part of a circus troupe, and essentially you have an animal companion. Now, this is an interesting one. I missed it on my first read-through. So, you gain the service of a young animal companion. This trained animal is trained in performance instead of the skill listed for its type, because it's a circus, so it performs. Now, that's interesting, especially because animals don't usually have high charisma bonuses, so how that works is kind of, depending on that. But you have an animal companion, which can help, definitely. Your level 4 feat is Beast Speaker, which gives you constant effect of speak with animals as a 2nd level primal spell, and you get a +2 bonus to diplomacy to make requests. This one is, in theory, it sounds really good. It's a really, useful ability to have. There could always be that 1 or 2 encounters that by being able to speak with the animal, you may understand what it wants and what it, how to bypass an encounter. Does it come up often? Probably not. When it does, it'll be a massive surprise. So, if your campaign is a lot of animals, or maybe a lot of like jungle scene, kind of like you were going through the wilderness, could be worth it. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't do that one. Next is the Mature Trained Companion. Now, I'm glad this is here, because anybody who has an animal companion in your game, you know that essentially as you level up, you gain the feats for like mature, specialized, and all this stuff. So this allows you to make your companion a bit stronger. It does increase the performance skill again, so you still can choose one of its skills. And you do not get the advanced maneuver. So you get the mesmerizing performance, which lets them essentially perform. Now, the issue with this is it gives you fascination, or fascinate, which is kind of a weird, like fascination isn't the best debuff to really have. Basically what fascination does is it distracts a person, but the minute they take damage, they snap out of it. So it's really good, like if you want to throw your companion over someplace, they perform, they could say, distract the guard. The guard is distracted, you could sneak past maybe. Or you could fascinate. While it's fascinated, you can then get the rest of the team in position and then pounce. So is it useful? Not the best debuff there is. Insistent Command. When you roll a success to command an animal, you get a critical success. So here's my thing with command an animal. I had to look this up actually. I did not know this was an actual action in the game in my 2+ years of playing, because I've never seen it done before. Mostly because most of my games don't have many like primal casters or people super into nature against animals. Again, if you're playing an animal based, now again, it has to be animal, because sometimes you get into like that different territory between animal and magic beasts. Beasts kind of not being an animal per se, so gotta be careful about that. But it could be useful, I could see some use for it. Now this getting a critical success, again, probably not worth it unless you really want to have an animal to command. Splendid Companion. This gives you the one to make it nimble or savage, getting the abilities, and master in proficiency. So now it's a master performer instead of athletics or acrobatics. And specialize gives you one specialization of your choice, increases proficiency rate in performance to legendary. So this just makes your companion stronger. Otherwise, they really build up on the performance, and it's a fun idea. I will say this. Overall, like, it's a fun, and you can see when you go through young animal companions, it gives you all the stat blocks and everything. But overall, I think it's a very interesting archetype, because the archetype basically gives you an animal companion, which can be useful, but then it puts so much heavy emphasis into performance that you kind of feel like, I mean, if it doesn't perform, then what's the point of it? And if you want an animal companion, just go like Druid or Ranger or something like that, and just pick up an animal companion the normal way. My issue with this is the kind of, outside of it being a heavy performance basically, I don't really see how it's gonna be useful. It gains its yo level. Again, 0 charisma means its stats are gonna be really low. So like, it doesn't get a bonus in performance outside of being trained in it and your level bonus. So in that case, why couldn't you just do the performance yourself and make a build that makes you more of the performer, and you probably have more options for it as well. So this reminds me a bit of the Alkenstar Agent adventure archetype that we had, the one that's in the Outlaws of Alkenstar campaign, where it sounds really cool. You know, you get to be this agent of the Alkenstar police, but then when you look at it, it's like, well, none of this stuff really pertains to the campaign, and it could work in like a stealthy, like sleuth type situation, but the rest of it doesn't really work. And similar to this one, I haven't gone through most of Extinction Curse. Like, I haven't played it personally, but even then, like, I don't think the circus element lasts the whole 6 books. And once the circus element leaves, you're left with an animal that performs in like the wilderness or something. So what's the benefit to that? I don't really see what the benefit for that particularly might be. I'm gonna hop on over to the big screen while we talk about this. The concept of it is really cool. The Animal Trainer concept for like a class in terms of an RP flavor is really cool. I can see why it could be appealing to somebody. But when you look at the abilities, I just don't feel like it lives up to anything of value. Now, maybe if you have a free archetype variant like in your game and you want to have it, sure, go ahead. That could be fun. That could be something interesting, something different to explore. But if you don't have the free archetype rule, or if you're not really, or if you really like playing like hardcore, like almost like a min-max type build where you want to be super effective, I likely wouldn't go for this archetype. I don't feel like it brings much to the table. And unless you're playing a campaign that has a ton of animals in it, a ton of wilderness in it, then maybe. But then even then, at that point, it's like, well, why don't just play a druid or a ranger, and you can probably do it even better, really. That's kind of the tricky part with this one. So if any of you guys have played as an animal trainer, let me know in the comments down below. I'm definitely curious to hear about that, as well as hit that subscribe button for more of my Pathfinder 2nd edition videos. And thank you guys for watching and enjoying this little quick dive into the Animal Trainer archetype. Thank you guys.